Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I'm back with a new layout for Hip Kit Club and I'm using the 2020 April kits today, and this is for Mixed Media Monday. Now I was inspired by this gorgeous rainbow paper from the Crate Paper Sweet Story collection, and I wanted to use that as my jumping off point for my layout today. And I sorted through all of the pattern papers and almost all of them are perfect for a coordinating rainbow layout. They all kind of go with this one paper. And so I just decided to make my own rainbow. And I'm going to start with this paper here. Now I also want to use this paper as it is, and I do have two sheets of it. So I'm going to save the other one for later. But for this layout, I'm going to cut it up. And I'm going to start by basically cutting up the pink, the orange, the dark pink, the orange, the light pink, and the yellow as a starting point, and then mix in some of these other pattern papers. And I want to create a wonky rainbow, but I want the arcs to be a lot thinner than they are on this original pattern paper. And I want to work in some other colors and patterns. And so I really love this yellow and white gingham paper from the Carta Bella Summer Market collection, and I just kind of stuck the orange arc on top of it, used my hand to hold it, and I just went for it and started cutting arcs. And once I was done, this is what I was left with. And the dark blue color at the bottom is actually from one of the cardstock sheets in the cardstock kit. It's that gorgeous royal blue color. So if you got the cardstock kit, then you got that color, and it is so pretty. All right, so my next thought when I had all of the colors together there was that I had a lot of solids, and I wanted to kind of distress some of the solids so they didn't look so flat. So I just go to my trusty best friend, my bottle of white gesso, and use my finger to kind of smudge some white on there. And it just kind of makes it look a little bit distressed and weathered, so it's not just a solid flat color. And also on the blue and that bright green color, I just wanted to soften it up just a little bit. I couldn't decide if I wanted this to be, a soft rainbow or a bright, bold rainbow, and it's going to wind up being a little bit of both, I think. But I did want to incorporate the lighter pink colors in there, and I'm not going to have any purple because I don't believe there's any purple in these kits this month. So we're going to go with this right here, and I'm going to use the smooth white cardstock as my background. I am going to do a lot of mixed media on the background, and so I'm going to start with coating pretty much the whole sheet with clear gesso, and I'm using my acrylic brush there to smudge that on. And I'm thinking I'm going to put the rainbow in the center of this background, but I did play around with the idea of making it crooked or putting it at the top, putting it at the bottom. But I'm going to kind of just rebuild it here and see what I've got. And a couple of the arcs are shorter than the longer ones. So this is definitely going to be a wonky, crooked, layered rainbow. And I think it looks really cute once it's all done. I was going to go ahead and start to work on embellishments at this point, but I wasn't sure. I wanted to attach all of the arcs together so I wouldn't have to bring all of the arcs back every time I wanted to put them on the background. I wanted to move the rainbow as one big whole piece. So that's what I'm going to do here, is just go ahead and add a little bit of glue in a couple places so all of the arcs are glued together, and then I can just move the rainbow around as one big chunk. And that's going to make life a lot easier once I start working on the background and embellishments and things. So yeah, this is going to be very layered and very, yeah, it looks like a kindergartner made that, right? But that's okay. I think in the end, it's going to look really cute. Okay, so now let's work on the background. I'm going to use all three colors that we get in the color kit this month. This first color is called Blush, and these products are Art Philosophy, and I believe they're from Prima. And they're watercolors in these little bottles with a dropper. And look at that pink color. Is that not the most beautiful pink ever? I love it. and you use it just like you would any other watercolor. I'm using the plastic packaging technique here. You just put some on the plastic, turn it over, and use your hand to kind of smush it around. And I love the shape and the effect that you get. It's a totally different look than if you were just to use a brush. And I want this color to kind of show above the top of the rainbow. And as always, you can add multiple layers to this to make it darker. You can dilute it with water to make it lighter. I'm adding a little bit of water here to kind of just fade it out and make it a little bit lighter around the edges. But yeah, the gesso is definitely helpful in allowing your watercolor to do this right here. You know, if you don't use gesso, when you flip the plastic over and start to smush the color down, whatever shape it is when it lands on the paper, it's going to soak right through, and that's pretty much what it's going to look like. Once it hits the paper, it's going to stay that shape. It's going to be harder. You could probably add some water and spread it around a little bit, but it's not going to spread as easily as if you were to use gesso. And when you add a lot of liquid and water to cardstock like this without gesso, it's going to start to ball up and it's going to want to tear, and that's why I use gesso. It just makes life a lot easier when you're doing this kind of stuff. All right, so the green color that we get this month, look at it. It's so pretty. It's called Lucky, and I love how that looks with the packaging, and I love how it just automatically lightens up when I add the water to it to kind of dilute it, to bring it down a little bit. And I wanted to kind of add some variation in the green section here, so I pulled out a blue, because we do not get a blue this month. So this blue color is from a couple months ago. This is from Lindy's Stamp Gang, an older color kit, and it's called Blue Hawaiian Blue. And so I just took the nozzle out and dabbed a couple of dabs onto the green section, and accidentally it splattered over to the left of the green. And I originally hadn't even planned on having a blue watercolor section on this layout, but I'm so glad that it splattered over there by mistake, because I wind up absolutely loving how it turns out. And of course, it's always a good thing to have blue right next to green because they blend together so nicely. I'm loving how this is looking. Now, usually when I make a rainbow layout, I love to put it on blue cardstock or use a lot of blue watercolor behind it to mimic a sky. But in this one, I thought, you know, let's use some different colors. Let's try something different. Let's go a little more abstract. And I wind up using some blue. Like I said, I hadn't planned on it, but the blue is going to be underneath the rainbow instead of above it. And I wind up really liking the effects of this. I'm already loving this background. I kind of don't want to put the rainbow on top of it. I love how the green section turned out. And I'm not even a green fan, but in this case, I'm loving that green right there. It's very, very pretty. I'm going to use the third color that we get this month next, and it's the yellow color. It's called Honey. And again, it's in the bottle. It's got the dropper. I'm going to do the same thing, put it on some plastic, flip it over, and smudge it down. And I thought that it would be a good place to put it above the rainbow over on the right side or to the right of the pink section. And look how bold. These Art Philosophy colors are so pretty. I'm going to do a little bit of diluting with some water, dab it up. You can see how awesome that looks. And then try it out, see where it looks, or see how it looks with the rainbow. And then I'm going to pull in some more of the Lindy's. The color I'm going to use is called Yellow Rose of Texas, and that's from an older kit. And it's more of a shimmery golden yellow, and it's going to just kind of add some different variations of yellow. But yeah, this is going to peak above the top of the rainbow. Who says you have to have a blue sky when you make a rainbow? You can have a rainbow sky. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm glad I did this because I think it winds up looking really pretty in the end. So yeah, I'm just going to keep working on that. The background is almost finished. And I always say this, and it's always true. It always looks like a hot mess when you're making it, but when you start to add everything back on top of it, you bring in your photos and you start to add embellishments, totally transforms the layout. All right, here's the background. It's pretty much finished. I am obsessed with how that turned out. The packaging technique is, it's awesome. Love it. All right, so I went through and basically picked out some papers and some pocket life cards that have things on them that would match the rainbow. So right away I flipped over that yellow and white gingham sheet, and look at all these flowers on that Carta Bella sheet. I went ahead and started to fussy cut some of those out. I cut out some blue, some pink, some orange. There's a light pink one here with green leaves, and then I went ahead and fussy cut this out. It's from a pocket life card. I don't wind up using it, but it's beautiful and I'll use it on something else later. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down the rainbow because I know where it's going to go, and that's going to be basically the focal point or the starting point of the page, and I'm going to build everything else around it. So obviously it's hanging off the side of the page, so I'm going to go ahead and cut off the edges. And then I've got something to work with. All right, I took a break, I let everything dry, and then I had to machine stitch. You know me, I'm obsessed with my sewing machine when I have time to use it here. So I switched out the thread colors and used light pink, I used darker pink, I used orange, and just kind of stitched around the arcs. And then I printed out 3 small photos here, and I printed them in black and white because the photos were taken at night with my cell phone, so they're kind of blurry, but when I put them in black and white, they looked a lot better, and so I went ahead and just did black and white. And plus they're going to pop off the page against all these bright colors, and I just think they're going to work out a lot better. So I am going to smudge a little bit of white gesso on the rainbow where the photos are going to go, just to kind of emphasize the photos and give them a little bit of a white space to pop off of, since the background is so bold and colorful. And it's just a subtle thing. It's not like I'm trying to cover up the colors. This is kind of the idea that I had. I wanted to put 2 down toward the blue section and then 1 up top of where the yellow watercolor is. And then I thought I wanted to do tone on tone as best as I could. And what that means is I'm going to try to put pink things on the pink arc, orange things on the orange arc, so on and so on. And so I've got some blue on the blue, I've got some green down on the green. I found the butterfly sticker that's perfect because the bottom half of the butterfly is the dark blue, and then the top part of the wings are that minty green color. It worked perfectly. And there are a ton of embellishments in between the crepe paper stuff and the Carta Bella stuff that match so well. I was just looking at this chipboard sheet and the sticker sheet going, ooh, this matches, ooh, this matches. I found heart stickers, I've found phrase stickers. I'm going to use this blue one down here. It was great. It was just one of those layouts where everything that I looked at, I was like, oh, I have to use that. Oh, I have to use that. This is a sticker from crepe paper. I'm going to cut it up because I only wanted to use the sentiment that was in the middle of it. It was like a little frame. And so I'm going to cut that out and use that on the pink section. And some of the things may overlap onto another color because the arcs are so thin, but you get the idea of what I'm talking about when I say tone on tone. Tone on tone is fun because it kind of helps you pick certain embellishments. I'm going to use this little yellow bird in the yellow section. So if you're looking for things that are only yellow, there are only so many yellow things to pick from, and so you're limited, and it kind of helps you narrow down your embellishments, if that makes sense. So I kind of have a starting point here of some things I want to use. I'm going to pop up my photos with some adhesive foam, and this is just going to create some really fun dimension and texture and shapes. I meant to say shadows, not shapes. Shadows, which I love. Haven't glued anything down yet, so I'm going to start in with some thread here. And I've got all the rainbow colors of thread. I'm going to add in, not every single color, but I'm going to add in some pink thread on the pink section there, kind of underneath that sticker and those pink flowers. And then I'm going to pull in the royal blue color down on the blue section. And I just love thread. I think it adds awesome texture. It adds little pops of color, and it just kind of adds to the whole messy factor. You know, I love me some messy backgrounds, and thread just kind of enhances the messy factor. So I'm only going to do pink, green, and blue, so I didn't want to go thread crazy. But I love how this is looking. And I'm going to go ahead and start to glue what I've got at this point down and just kind of continue on from there. Just when I think I'm almost done, I found something else to do. So this is one of those layouts where I look at it and I'm like, this didn't take me that long to make, but it's a super long video because I just kept adding things in, and I wanted to leave in as much as the process as I could, just to show you the different thought processes that I go through when I make these pages. I was so excited that that butterfly was the perfect color. It fits perfect on the blue and the light green section there. Yeah, this little yellow sticker says there's sunshine in my soul. It matched perfectly. Yeah, so don't be afraid to cut things up, to fussy cut things out of pattern paper. You know, there's no rule saying that you have to use a pattern paper or an embellishment as it is. So if you want to cut one thing out of it, then do it. If you want to tear a piece of chipboard in half, do it. If it works for your layout, then go for it. You do not have to use things as they are. You know, you can dismantle it all you want to make it work. Again, I'm adding more stickers. This is from the Carta Bella sticker sheet. Lots of things matched. Lots of things referring to sunshine, which I love. This little sticker here says hello sunshine, and I love that it was white with yellow text. So I'm going to use that in that little dip in the yellow up at the top. It was perfect. See how the watercolor makes this little valley? Perfect place for that sticker there. And then I used one of these little tear apart sweet die cuts. I'm going to wind up putting that back. I just moved it to the right. But you can see there's like, I think 5 different ones, or they're not 5 different ones, 5 separate ones. I used one of them on my layout last week, and I'm going to use another one this week. Maybe I'll try to use one on every page I make this month. I tried to use this wonderful sticker. I couldn't find a place for it, so I put it away. I wanted to use both sets of alphas that we get. They're, especially these pink ones, they're huge, but they're awesome, and they stick so perfectly, and they're this most gorgeous satiny pink color. And I was like, okay, I need to find a short word. You is a perfect short word, so we're going to go with it, and I'm going to stick it on the pink section. And then I'm going to use these iridescent ones. You guys, these silver, oh my gosh, I can't even explain it. Look at them. They're like iridescent. They sharkle. What kind of a word is sharkle? Okay, sparkle and shine. Sharkle, there's your new word for the week. They sparkle and shine depending on the reflection. So you're going to get all kinds of colors when you turn the page. And I just went with a short title, Just Smile, because we were just taking cute little selfies. And I wanted something short and compact that would fit right there. And if you want to tone down the shine factor on any of these things that we get that have, you know, brassy gold or super shiny silver, just smudge a little bit of white gesso over it and you'll still get a shine. It just tones it down a little bit, and that's what I did there. But trust me, it is still super shiny. It's very shiny. I went back through the sticker sheets, the chipboard. I'm adding in a couple of stars, a couple of just small little bits. This is the brads. I think they're not original brads, they're sticky brads. A couple of things from that little sticker sheet. Again, tone on tone. I'm going to go with these brads. Nope, those aren't brads. What are those called? Enamel dots. Enamel dots. A couple of those in a couple spots. We are getting close. We are finally getting close to the finish here. If you are still here hanging out with me, thank you for sticking with me, because we're not done just yet, but we are getting there. Now, I realized what this layout was missing, and it was clouds. You know, was like, I've got this beautiful rainbow, I've got this fun abstract background, I need some clouds. And I think this is what just makes the layout look complete. I just kind of hand cut really quickly on some scrap cardstock a couple little clouds here, and I just use white, and I'm going to use 2 at the top, 1 on the left and 1 on the right. And I want these to look kind of cute and fluffy and wonky, but I can't leave them just white. I have to add some life to them. So I pulled out my edge distresser there, and this is just going to sort of ruffle up the edges so they have a little bit of texture. And then I pulled out some gelatos because I wanted to give them a little bit of grayish bluish color. I wanted them to look a little bit realistic. So I just kind of go around the edges with my gelato there. And if you've never heard of or used gelatos, they're kind of like little, they remind me of lipsticks. They rub on kind of like the consistency of lipstick, and they smudge very, very easily with your hands. You can add water to them and they blend and smudge. You can kind of use them like watercolor, but they are fun and fast, and they are a great way to get a little bit of controlled color. So you can kind of see there, it's very subtle, but they stand out a little bit more against the white. But yeah, instant clouds, gotta have some clouds on this rainbow page. So I'm gonna pop those up using some adhesive foam, the same kind that I used behind the photos. And then we're gonna glue those down. And I think that was just what it needed. It needed a little bit more white on top of the rainbow there to kind of break it up, but now we got it. I love those little clouds. I think they're cute. Last thing here, I'm going to add in my journaling right down here at the bottom, and I'm going to use my black fine tip Sharpie, and then I do wind up adding the date with the date stamp. And that is the final layout. I love, love, love how this turned out. I love wonky rainbows. They're so cute. And I think this turned out, even though I don't have a blue sky, I was so happy that I made the mistake of splattering some of the blue on the bottom, because it wound up being exactly right. Look at those letters. You see what I'm talking about with the shine? You still get a shine, but they just reflect all the colors because they're kind of iridescent. Oh, I love them. You can see all the details here, all of the texture, all of the colors. This is a great kit this month if you want to try tone on tone, because everything works. So I highly recommend that. Yeah, I love how this turned out. Rainbows make me happy. So let me know if you have any questions. I hope this inspires you in some way. I cannot wait to see what you guys make with the April kits, because they are awesome. And yeah, I will talk to you in my next video. Thanks so much. See you then.